So first things first, I apologize that this review is so late, but honestly, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise that my power went out at my house because holy crap, did so much happen since then.
It has been probably the most chaotic week in wrestling, probably starting on Saturday all the way until now. The past chaotic days with, like we talked about, Clash at the Castle, NXT versus NXT UK Worlds Collide, which we will be briefly talking about. I did catch the show, and I have some thoughts about it. And obviously, here we are with All Out 2022, which honestly,
sure are.
This has to be an extension because this pay-per-view is almost obsolete minutes after the pay-per-view because a lot of shit went down. The media scrum?
Is it out of place for me to say that I wanted the episode of Dynamite to start with Jon Moxley waking up in bed still with the AEW title around his waist and being like, "Oh, that was a weird dream."
Honestly, one can only dream of that happening. This is a very controversial show for more ways than one. We will be talking about everything. We will be talking about this pay-per-view. We will be talking about the fallout. We'll talk about the media scrum, and we'll talk about the fallout that basically just finished off with AEW Dynamite this Wednesday.
The fallout, the All Out.
Yeah, it was wild, and honestly, there is no better time to be a wrestling fan right now. You know, WWE they're back on their way up. We talked about Clash at the Castle. We had some really good wrestling this weekend. And here we are with a 15-match card.
Dude,
11 matches on the pre-show, 11 matches on the main show, 4 on the pre-show.
I started this late because I was at a School of Rock matinee at the time I was. And I started on match number 3, and then I had to go back and watch the previous 2 matches afterwards. But with that said, I did not catch any of this pre-show, so my friend Tomas here is going to take the lead here. Apparently, there was only one match worth watching on this pre-show involving Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, this is what happens when you try to cram 4 matches in a 1 hour. I don't like that with AEW Rampage. I feel like 3 is the max, especially if you're trying to cram in backstage segments, in-ring segments. I feel like every episode of Rampage is, here's 5 matches, and we're going to hear from this champion and this person and this person. And just like,
it's so rushed. It comes off so rushed.
I don't like rushed. I would rather see 3 really good matches as opposed to 5 really crappy ones. 1 pre-show match, awesome. 2 pre-show matches, cool. Once you've got past 2, it's like, if I'm not ordering a pay-per-view at this point, it's a little iffy. And a couple of these matches were shoehorned on the show at the last second. So let's talk about the first elephant in the room, is that we were originally supposed to get Eddie Kingston versus Sammy Guevara on this show. Guevara and Kingston got into a little backstage altercation because apparently Guevara made some comments about Eddie's weight, and that's one of Kingston's his no-nos and promos, saying, do not ever talk about his weight. Guevara called Kingston a badass, apparently, and there was a bit of a little backstage altercation. That's going to be the theme of this podcast, altercations. So they had to split off the match. Eddie was suspended for a couple weeks because of this, but they canceled the match, and instead, number one, AEW likes to talk about how they like to pride themselves on how they don't do rematches a lot. This is the 3rd time we've seen this match in the span of a week and a half. It's this time for the mixed tag team titles of AAA. Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello, formerly known as Ty Conti, defending against Ortiz and Ruby Soho, kind of a makeshift team. They are teaming up against the Jericho Appreciation Society because remember, it was Chris Jericho, Abe Ortiz's head, and it was Mello who smashed Soho's arm, or her wrist, however, in a car door. So it's kind of just, I don't know how to feel about this feud. I really don't care about it.
No.
Since Santana got injured and apparently they're on bad terms, Ortiz is kind of just floating off in the wind, and Soho, they could be doing a lot better with her. This match started off in a very non-traditional fashion. They were kind of trying
in the highlight of the match too, from what I understand.
They tried to do a red carpet thing. They were asking Guevara and Mello, who are they wearing? And then all of a sudden they hear beeping. They go to investigate, and it's Ortiz and Soho driving a golf cart.
Of course.
There's been a running joke in AEW that Sammy Guevara always has to get hit by a golf cart. And here he is.
Or he runs away from a golf cart. He's never gotten hit with one, to my knowledge, but he's always been running away from them.
Guevara, get out of the way. Do not run from a car. He gets hit by a golf cart.
Or at the very least, run in a zigzag form. Like, you know.
I like this. It's a funny little ongoing joke within AEW. And then the match spills out to the ring. There's not really much to talk about here. The only spot worth mentioning really was Guevara and Melo had their finishers set up and they kissed each other during that sequence. That is just, bleh. You know, their gimmick is just, bleh.
Pisses the crowd off, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know, say what you want. Guevara and Melo are heat magnets. Guevara is way better off as a heel. And I kind of like the direction they're going, especially with the ladies in the Jericho Appreciation Society. Inner Circle had to break off, apparently because of the issues between Ortiz and Santana. Now we have a not so great version of the Inner Circle, but you know, they're getting over here, and Guevara and Melo retain the tag team titles. A lot of people are saying they don't care about the AAA mixed tag team titles. It's whatever. It's the forbidden door. This was a harmless match, but I don't think it needed to be on the pre-show. I'll give it a 1.5 stars. It was there. It only went 6 minutes.
Seems like a bunch of these matches didn't need to be on the pre-show. I know a lot of people love Hook. But he did not need to be defending the FTW title here against Angelo Parker. He really did not.
Yeah, the next match is Hook, like you said, defending the TNT title. I put a timer on this match because Hook kind of has like a little Goldberg feel to him. His matches don't go on for very long. Action Bronson, who performs Hook's theme song, was in the audience. This was a nice little match. You really don't see the members of 2.0 getting their one-on-one. Apparently, Matt Menard is injured right now. That's why Parker is in here. I would have liked to see a handicap match. That would have been fun just to show off Hook's dominance. But Parker, he is able to use Menard to his advantage in this match, and that's how he's able to get most of the offense in this match. But Hook is able to lock on the Red Rum after only 3 minutes and 55 seconds.
Yep, that's what I have here.
2 seconds shy of 4 minutes. Nothing really special here. I'll give it 2 stars. It was cool to see Parker, you know, work a little, but, you know, Hook, he's over, and he's going to continue to be dominant afterward. 2.0 attack Hook, and Action Bronson decides to get involved.
Nice.
Didn't know how to feel about this, but Bronson was throwing 2.0 around, and they were bumping for him. So cool. It was harmless. This was a harmless little segment, you know.
It could have very easily been done on Rampage, though.
Yeah. Like, again, if you're wanting to get me excited for this pay-per-view, 1-2 matches is fine. But again, this felt like a Rampage segment.
And Hook is, of course, still undefeated, to my knowledge. Sorry to cut you off, but I believe he's still undefeated.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, he is. Moving on to a match that's a little more, you know, a little... What am I trying to say here? Better work in a while here. Pac finally defending his All-Atlantic title in AEW against Superbad Kip Sabian. We have not seen Kip Sabian in almost 2 years. He suffered an injury, and they wrote him off TV, getting attacked by Miro. He's back, and apparently he has a brand new gimmick, and the only issue I have with this gimmick is that AEW talked about it like we were already supposed to know about this gimmick. Apparently, Sabian's been sitting in the crowd for weeks with this cardboard box over his head. And they were saying, oh, it's Kip Sabian. And I'm like, I didn't know. The reveal would have been nice.
His gimmick? Like AEW... His gimmick is basically the fan that Cody Rhodes put the paper bag over in 2011. That's his gimmick. He has like these bodyguards that walk around with him with cardboard boxes on his head. My idea was, it's a cardboard box with Sharpie on it. Why isn't AEW taking these boxes and selling them for $20 at shows if they really wanted to fuck over the fans? But Sabian kind of reinventing himself here. And even on later on we talk about this match, he's got, you know, I like the gimmick. It's something different for him. It's more than just, you know, the super bad boy. And, you know, this match was nice. You know, I think Sabian and Pac had really good chemistry. There's so much for the All-Atlantic title, though. So much for the All-Atlantic title. It was such a big deal in Forbidden Door. And now here it is on the pre-show. I'm like, come on, man.
I feel like this is Tony Khan's, like, way of just, oh, we're gonna send one of our guys across the globe to defend this title, and it's just like, this is one title too many. I'm so happy Pac is champion. Pac's one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW. And like I said, there was some good stuff in this match. You got some nice tornado DDTs, some good cruiserweight action, and then Pac finally wins with the Black Arrow. After the match, Pac is making his way to the back, and Orange Cassidy's music hits, and I pop because this is one of the most underrated feuds in AEW. I remember their match way back at Full Gear 2020. That was my match of the night. I love these two together. And Pac kind of going tweener mode here. Cassidy obviously doesn't say anything, and Pac says, no. We've done this before. I've beaten you before. You are not a wrestler. You are a joke. Get to the back of the line. You're not challenging for my title, which means he's going to be challenging for the title pretty soon. We go back to the ring, and Sabian is arguing with the cardboard box, and I like the gimmick. It's like the box, and he was saying, like, you lied to me, and it's like the box is telling Sabian what to do. The box is the little voice in Sabian's head, and
nice.
You know, it's kind of like Al Snow in head,
except in heel form almost.
Yeah.
I definitely see what you're saying there, but man, the lies here. Orange Cassidy is a wrestler. He's not a joke. He's a joke wrestler, but he is a wrestler. He's fucking good.
He's the ultimate underdog, and I love the way he's getting booked. My only issue with Cassidy is that he needs some wins. He needs a title, and I hope Cassidy beats Pac for the all like title, because it would be finally.
They need to give Orange Cassidy the gimmick where he comes to the ring with a backpack, and that's where he keeps the title.
Exactly, yeah.
The title. He should never be, like, if he wins a championship, he should never wear it to the ring. He should always carry it to the ring in a backpack. Like, that's how it needs to be.
2.5 stars. They gave this match a lot of time, and it was really good. It showed off Sabian, it showed off Pac, and we get a nice little sneak peek at the next All-Atlantic title feud. Up next was the best match of the pre-show. You know, we didn't get Eddie and Guevara, but we got Eddie Kingston versus Tomohiro Ishii from New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is a
stiff as hell, man.
In Kingston, and I'm not gonna lie. As the match started, the only thing I could think of was they're trying to be Sheamus and Gunther. They're trying to outmatch their stiffness. But I feel like this match was unique in its own way, because there is a part early on in this match that Kingston and Ishii, they chop each other. I'm not kidding, for like 2 minutes straight. They are just going at each other.
Tomas with a quote that I'll never forget. It wasn't during this match, obviously, but basically he said, "I think I'm all chopped out this weekend, dude." And I'm like, yeah. I actually did go back and watch Kingston and Ishii in its entirety after it was all said and done, and it was what everyone said. Basically, it's what everyone said and more. It was stiff as hell. I don't want to say it's as good as Gunther and Sheamus. Absolutely not. Does not hold a candle to that, but it was, man.
My reason for saying this couldn't, touch the magnitude that Eddie and Ishii versus Sheamus and Gunther is, first of all, Sheamus and Gunther was a featured match on the main card in front of a UK crowd. You weren't going to get better than that.
Well, and there was a title
Kingston
on the line.
Yeah, and Kingston and Ishii were kind of, relegated to the pre-show. They were given 13 minutes, but it's just like, in some regards, the match still felt a little rushed. I'm glad that they took the time, to chop each other for 3 minutes straight. There's fists, there's slaps, there's elbows, there's stiff-ass suplexes. It's, Kingston and Ishii went out there and they said, don't fucking hold back. And they did not hold back. And this was so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get you there. It was, definitely the only match worth going out of your way to watch from this 0 hour, as they're calling it. But Eddie Kingston did get the win in this match after about 13 minutes of just fierce strikes all around. It's a Eddie Kingston Tomohiro Ishii match. What else are you really going to be expecting?
Another issue I had with it is that the crowd didn't really feel into it, but they really started getting into it near the end, and Eddie really deserved this win. Let's just put this into retrospective. Ishii got chopped so many times, it popped blood vessels in his chest, because they zoom into like his shoulder area and you just see purple veins all up and down it. And they didn't break skin, but they popped some blood vessels in his chest. And I'm just like, God, Ishii is what a badass.
He's a tough son of a bitch, man. But, that was a long pre-show, but we have a whole-ass pay-per-view to go through.
By the way, I give this match 3 3/4 stars. If this was a featured match on like a 7-match card, in the right setting, this could have easily been as good, maybe even better than Gunther and Sheamus. But when you're relegated to the pre-show and you're not giving a lot of build, for a match that, if this was Eddie Kingston's punishment, then hell, maybe I didn't want to see him fight Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, probably not. I would just much rather get this without all the drama, but heck, this is Brawl Out 2022. We have the drama. We have so much drama to get into, and anyone who knows me in real life knows that I hate drama. We have enough drama in our lives. Let's just freaking enjoy the things that are so glorious in this world, like professional wrestling. So don't be tribal, anybody. Don't be tribal. It's not cool.
Absolutely. And what do we have to kick off the main card?
Oh, dude, we have the worst freaking gimmick of all time. I know what I said. The last man standing match sucks, and it still sucks. But a casino ladder match? Like, combine the Money in the Bank and a Royal Rumble, and I get it. I get it, guys. But how do I put this?
I feel like AEW is trying to be unique with this match concept, and I know if they just had a multi-man ladder match to win an opportunity for a title shot, they're just going to be called copycats, just copying WWE. But, you think about it, and every idea in the wrestling world has been used at least once. There's going to be, I wouldn't call this copying. If they wanted to do their style of Money in the Bank ladder match, Chris Jericho set the foundation for the Money in the Bank ladder match in 2005. Yep. I'm pretty sure it would be okay with the architect of the Money in the Bank ladder match in your company as one of your top stars.
It absolutely would. But the way they do it, it's like, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's like this generation's King of the Mountain match. And I thought the King of the Mountain match was fucking stupid in TNA. Like, a reverse ladder match? It makes no sense.
Penalty boxes and eliminations, and at least there wasn't that many convoluted rules in this kind of match. But like you said, it's a 7-person ladder match. Every, 2 minutes, a new person enters.
Yep.
And the biggest issue with this, as we get into the participants, is what if the match ends right before the next guy
That would be my strategy. We've talked about this. Okay, so first of all, as Mike Tenay would say with these rules, it's really quite simple. But it's basically it is simple. But my strategy would basically be, if I were Wheeler Yuta or Ray Fenix, who started off this match, I would beat the hell out of this person for 30 seconds, bolt up that ladder, grab the poker chip, and just dip. That would be my strategy. But no, they have to have like a whole ass rampage match in there to get all the people in there. Like,
I don't know who said this, but I think this is a very easy thing to do that would rectify this whole match. It needs to be war game style. And what I mean by that is you cannot retrieve the chip until every single participant has entered the match.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess would still defeat the purpose, but at least if you have that, the idea of the match ending before anybody else gets out there would be eliminated. But at the end of the day, get rid of the Royal Rumble style match. Just have a multi-person ladder match for a championship match.
A casino battle royal works fine, but a casino ladder match, no, absolutely not. I'm 100% with you.
It's silly, and who do we have in this match?
Okay, so I'll give you credit where it's due. I'll give the workers credit where it's due. So we start off with Wheeler Yuta and Ray Fenix. And as we keep going along, we have Roosh come in third, which is amazing to keep seeing him in AEW as a regular. Here's the problem.
But Roosh,
takes his fucking time. Like,
takes his sweet ass time to the point
get to the ring and grab that shit.
The commentators are pointing out, saying Roosh is sure taking his time getting to the ring. Oh, another issue I have with this match, not related to this, is that too many teams. Too many. You got the Lucha Bros. You got
Andrade El Idolo.
You have the Blackpool Combat Club. It's just like too many friends fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the whole every man for themselves concept. It works better in the Royal Rumble, but why are you pitting all these teams against each other? With the exception of Dante Martin and the Joker, every single person on this match was part of a team.
Who I guess Dante Martin has no friends in the AEW locker room to help him here.
I mean, he has his brother Darius that just continuously gets injured.
Yeah,
so at this point, they might as well just break off Top Flight.
It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate what Darius has to go through. But Andrade comes in fourth. He's helping Roosh out. There was a really sick bump. I don't know if it was around this point in the match, but Andrade does the Money in the Bank 2019 spot that he did with Finn Balor on Wheeler Yuta this time. And oh my God, Wheeler Yuta was folded in half there. My word, it looks nasty. But I mean, that's what I got to give credit to this match for. These guys were working really hard out there. There were a lot of people who were super over, like Claudio, who came in shortly afterwards.
Claudio Castagnioli, the Ring of Honor World Champion, and this is where
which I'm so happy about.
Fell apart. This is where the match. You know how in a Money in the Bank ladder match, like you got to build to the big spots, and then everything in between is just great. This match just fucking fell apart after Castagnioli got in. Unfortunately, here's what happens. He's brawling with Yuta Wheeler, I think. And he's trying to do something with the ladder. I don't know what it is. He has the ladder wedged in between like the rungs of the other ladder, and the ladder is already tipping over. So I think what Castagnioli was trying to do was trying to push both ladders up and push Wheeler off. But it was so bad, and the ladder was already so bent over that it looked like shit. Castagnioli should have abandoned the spot altogether, but he was determined, and it just looked awful. And the whole sequence after that just felt awkward because they couldn't accomplish that. It's like, imagine a big spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match, like Shelton Benjamin, sentoning off the ladder onto everybody, like Mr. Anderson doing the Green Bay plunge the Hornswoggle off the ladder. Imagine that, but it just totally falls apart, and you can't recover after that. No. You have like all this rubble in the ring, and it's just awkward. The wrestlers are trying to work around it. Dante Martin, bless his heart, is trying to do his big sparks, but he can't maneuver around the ladders. And then when he finally does, the crowd is just deflated at this point. The match falls apart. The only people that could save this match are the Lucha Brothers, Fenix and Penta.
And they were the MVPs of this match. They're Tomas's favorite tag team of all time for damn good reason, because these guys are freaking awesome. Penta's hitting sling blades on the outside. There is a sick Canadian destroyer on the ramp by Fenix onto Dante Martin. It's just absolute bedlam. But then real bedlam comes around when there's a bunch of dudes in balaclavas that just storm the ring, and some of them unmask. One of the dudes in balaclavas grabs the poker chip, and he reveals himself to be Stokely Hathaway. And basically what happens is the Joker's timer comes down. It's a masked dude who's wearing like a V for Vendetta style thing. Stokely presents him with the poker chip. He threatens to unmask, and he's like, nope. It's basically the equivalent of Brock Lesnar coming out to ruin the 2019 Money in the Bank ladder match, only a little better if you look at it in hindsight.
It was better. I will say I was disappointed at the finish of the match at first. I remember just saying all out, that was stupid, because I was under the impression that AEW was going to drag this out for weeks. Like, you were not going to know who this Joker was, and basically you don't know who's going to be challenging for the world title. I feel like the ending still was pretty deflating, because the ending, I don't know, it just didn't come off super well. When I saw it was Stokely Hathaway, I'm like, oh, he's got his goons. He's got Lee Moriarty. He's got Ethan Page. He's got W. Morrissey. He's got the Gun Club and this new member. So the fact that he didn't reveal himself was just like, well, I don't know who won this match. And like I said, I was not happy with this match. I thought this match was fucking horrible, with the exception of a few spots. I thought this was, honestly, I would probably say this was the weakest match of the night.
Really?
I'm going to give it I'm going to give this a very harsh rating. I'm going to give this 2 stars.
Damn. I'm going to go 2.5, mainly because I appreciated the work that was being put in. But in the moment, yes, I agree with you. I go back and rewatch this, and thankfully I watched this show out of order, so I didn't see this when it actually opened the show. I saw it after everything was all said and done, and I'm like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
It's just, again, I appreciate what the Lucha Brothers did in this match. I appreciate what Dante Martin did in this match. It's just that once Claudio Castagnioli came in and that whole ugly ladder spot came in, the match never recovered. I also think that, and we'll talk about this later, unfortunately, a guy like Claudio Castagnioli, a guy like Dante Martin, a guy like Wheeler Yuta could have benefited from getting a world title shot. And I feel like, you made the comparison back at Money in the Bank 2019. We know for a fact he has gone out of his way to say Mustafa Ali was supposed to win that match.
Yep.
They could have made a star out of Ali, but they ruined it in favor of Brock Lesnar. Now, this isn't as bad, but you look at the pool that was in this match, and it's just like, damn, Penta, Yuta, Castagnioli.
Poor Mustafa Ali, man. I mean, 2019 was just the worst luck for him, because he was supposed to win the WWE Championship when Kofi Kingston was. Could you imagine how different things would have been? But alas, we're here. We have what we have, and we'll talk about the Joker in a bit, because it would not be long before we found out who it was.
And like, in my opinion, this was not a very strong start to this pay-per-view. Thankfully, the next match more than made up for it. It's the finals of the inaugural AEW Trios Titles Tournament. Another title in AEW. Oh my God, how is this company able to keep track of all these titles? We talked about how the All Atlantic title isn't getting the exposure it deserves, and now we're getting a Trios title, which I guess makes a little more sense with all the history of Ring of Honor. And there was a time I feel like a Trios title could have worked in WWE. Back in the days of the Wyatt family and the Shield, and you had your makeshift tag teams like your Usos and Rey Mysterio and other teams that were kind of thrown together. You know, back in 2014, the talent pool was not, there was a lot of talent just floating around doing nothing. I think they could have benefited from a Trios title. But here we are in AEW with the Trios title. It's the original trio, the Elite, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, with the returning Kenny Omega, taking on Dark Order members Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Hangman Adam Page.
Yes,
How
sir.
we have come full circle. Omega had made his return a few weeks ago after Hangman Adam Page rejected the Bucks' offer to be their tag team partner. And that was the first thing I liked about this match, just that we hadn't seen Omega and Page in the ring together since Omega lost the title to Page.
And Omega looks fucking great, doesn't he? He looks like he's in the best shape of his life. Honestly, that time off, like, really, like, I think it proved beneficial for Kenny Omega for sure. I'm just going to come right out and say it. This was my favorite match on this show.
This match was fantastic. I'm not going to praise the Elite too much in this match, considering what happens after the show. But yeah, Omega's back for the time being. Oh my God, this show did not age well. It's only been like 4 days, and this show did not age well.
Nope. It feels like this show is a year ago when we're talking about it now. It's so freaking bizarre. Like, okay, Omega and the Bucks win this match, but they're not the champions anymore. it's so wild just thinking about that.
It's crazy. We'll get into that later on, though.
Everybody was getting their spots in. I mean, you had the 4 people who were in 2020's match of the year all together in that tag title match at Revolution 2020. Classic match between the Bucks, Omega, and Page. But then you throw John Silver and Alex Reynolds into the mix, who are 2 stars on the rise in the Dark Order. You have a match made in heaven. You really do.
You know, I feel like at some point you got to put the tag team titles on Reynolds and Silver. They are the original tag team of the Dark Order.
Yeah.
You know, I think back to this whole tournament, and I will say this match was no Elite versus United Empire. Hell, this wasn't United Empire versus the Death Triangle. But I think this match's storytelling was far better than the spot fests. And you know, they were telling a lot of stories in this match. You had in the beginning of the match, you know, when the Young Bucks were being their usual douchey selves and Silver would slap the shit out of one of them, Hangman Page would immediately run in the ring and was like, hey, none of that, you know, none of that. Like, we're going to do this civil. We're going to wrestle this fair, because Page still kind of wants to be friends with the Bucks. He's still kind of protecting his buddies in the Elite.
Hangman Adam Page and I think a lot alike. We want no fucking drama. And if we see someone who is full of shit, we call them out on it. And it's like
Page, it's weird. For Page, it's got to be like when your new friends meet your old friends, and you want everybody to get along, and you don't want there to be any fighting. And, you know, the Dark Order is basically getting frustrated with Page, like, hey, why are you protecting them? You're on our team. So Page is conflicted in this match. He wants to win the titles, but he still wants to be buddies with the Bucks. And, you know, obviously, kayfabe-wise, there's still a lot of, you know, tensions between him and Kenny Omega.
Yeah. Oh, so much tension. And Omega and Page both tag in at the same time, and it's the first time they interacted since Full Gear last year in their epic main event. And this crowd in Chicago is stoked to see this. They're doing like the whole Ring of Honor face-to-face. They're doing the This Is Awesome thing. And their sequence is fucking beautiful. I loved this thing. I loved it.
You have Omega, you have the Bucks, you have Page. But you know who the MVP of this match was for me?
Johnny Silver?
Hungy.
Who?
Johnny Hungy.
Johnny Hungy.
Johnny Hungy was the MVP of this match. This
so many great suplexes. How come this fucker was not on Team Taz? How is he not on Team Taz? God.
Here's the thing about John Silver. He is short, he is stout, he is shredded as fuck, he is strong as hell, and he's charismatic too. I think a lot of people forget about how charismatic this guy is. Like, I love the Dark Order, but if they can somehow channel this natural charisma that John Silver has and put it into a singles one, he's a star.
Oh, he's gonna be a big star one day on his own. But he does pay glowing tribute to Mr. Brody Lee by going for that discus lariat, which is beautifully countered into a Snapdragon by Omega. Can we get Omega versus Silver in a half-hour Broadway? I would love to see that.
That would be excellent. I don't get how Hungy is able to do these deadlift suplex where he just hangs these people in the air for like 2 seconds before slamming them down. Silver's one of those guys that I think he could stack with Young Bucks on his shoulders if he
notice how Tomas is not really calling him Silver. He's calling him Hungy. That's his actual name.
Okay.
So there's a really amazing sequence where Kenny hits a V-trigger on John Silver. He goes for the one-winged angel, but there's a beautiful counter out of it that I never would have expected, especially coming from someone like John Silver, who has yet to really get over the hump as a singles guy. He really held his own in there against Omega. He reverses the one-winged angel into an inside cradle. Yeah, great near fall there. Great near fall.
Pre-media scrum, I still thought that should have been the finish of the match. This is a big issue I had with AEW like in 2020. My biggest issue with them was, would it fucking kill you if you gave a huge win to somebody like that? Would it fucking kill you if Omega or Cody Rhodes or a big star like that did the job for somebody? And I don't see any issue with Kenny Omega doing the job for John Silver.
No way.
The crowd would have popped huge for it. They would have celebrated. They would have put Silver on their shoulders. He would have had all 3 titles with him. Fuck, that would have been a beautiful sight. But like I said, this was such a typical coward AEW move. And I know they wanted the Elite, their boys, to be the inaugural Trios champions. And that happens afterward when the rest of the Dark Order gets taken out from the outside and Kenny Omega hits the one-winged angel and nobody kicks out of the one-winged angel. That is the most protected move in professional wrestling.
It sure is.
That gets the 1, 2, 3. Omega and the Bucks are your new Trios champions for about
or are they
72 hours.
Or are they?
For the next 72 hours.
Because once they get suspended, no, the Death Triangle is holding on to those pieces of gold now. After a fun match with the best friends.
I give this 4.25 stars. This was very fun. It had a little bit of everything. Had great storytelling, had amazing spots. And again, my biggest issue with it is I think the Dark Order should win over. And this is pre-suspension.
So with that, I'm going 4.5. I really, really loved this match. I loved the finish. I loved the one-winged angel reversal. I loved Hangman Page accidentally hitting the buckshot on his partner to help his best friends get the win. So it's fantastic storytelling, best match on the show by a country mile, and if you ask me. But coming up next, we have, speaking of titles, we have the TBS Championship on the line. It's going to be Jade Cargill defending against Athena. Yes, Jade Cargill did come out in She-Hulk makeup. Whatever that means, I don't know. But
she looked excellent. Like I said, I didn't know if it was the lighting, but then I looked forward, and she had like not heavy green makeup on, but like a slight tint of green. And I thought that was such a cool. I love Jade Cargill's presentation. She is, on paper, she should be a star. Booking and in-ring wise, she needs some work.
I mean, she is working with Daniel Bryan right now. I'm sorry, Bryan Danielson, but she's improving. She beats Athena clean in the middle. She's 37-0. Honestly, there's not really a whole lot to write home about. It only went about 4 minutes. It's a 1.5-star match, but
match was fucking wild just watching it unfold live, because the match starts and I mean, I look away for a second to say something to you, and all of a sudden Athena hits the Eclipse, and I'm just like,
she sure does.
Fucking shit. This is that kind of match. Again, you don't want to expose Jade Cargill too much, so you don't want to put her in a 20-minute Broadway with somebody. So the fact that this match started off strong and Athena hits her finisher to spark that excitement of, is she gonna really beat her this quickly? The baddies do get involved, and oh my god, what is it with Kiera Hogan and Layla Gray? They are especially Kiera Hogan. Kiera is so fucking green that it's not even funny. I swear, like every time I see her on TV, she's botching something. And
Yep.
she totally botched here again. And I think Athena just straight up gave them receipts because she kicks Layla Gray so fucking hard in the chest, she bounces off the barricade. And I'm just like, what is it? Seriously, what is it? I was watching Kiera in Impact for the past few years, and she looked totally fine. She steps with an AEW, and it's like she forgets how to wrestle.
My favorite gimmick in all of wrestling is now the receipt match, where just people giving and taking receipts. Athena was full of them. Like, I mean, there's good receipts in wrestling, and then there's bad receipts in wrestling, as we'll get to. But
Gray and Kiera get taken out, and then Athena and Jade brawl a little more in the ring, and then Jade Cargill hits the Jaded, which I called the Glam Slam by accident. Oops. Sorry, Beth Phoenix. Jade Cargill gets the pin. This was quick and to the point. I thought it was entertaining. I thought, the chaos was fun. I'll give it a star and three-quarter.
That's kind of what it is, though. It's the Glam Slam. They just name it something different, just to make her stand out a little more. But yeah, no, star and a half.
I was entertained by this. Obviously, Athena was put in this position because Chris Statlander is unfortunately injured again. I would have been okay with Athena winning the title because she's the biggest challenge to this date. And now I'm scared. What do you do with Athena now? Put her on Dark Elevation? That's not how you book your talent, Tony.
You have her be a coach.
You don't bring someone in as the flavor of the month, immediately have them challenge for the title, and then they fall into purgatory. Ruby Soho.
Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Saying, Athena, maybe a certain person with 3 initials will give you a ring, and maybe you'll be welcome back.
Maybe a live mic, too.
Maybe you'll be able to be in the Ember of the Moon again. Who knows?
I hate you. I hate you so much. That was terrible. Speaking of... okay, no, this match was not terrible. Coming up next, Tomas. It absolutely was not.
Nope, here we go. It is kind of a featured attraction match. A lot of people felt like this was thrown together, and I get where they're coming from. But as it got going, I really enjoyed it. It's the TNT champion Wardlow teaming with the triple tag team champions FTR, taking on Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley from Impact Wrestling.
I was so happy to see the Guns. I was so happy to see them. And can we talk about ageless wrestlers, too? Alex Shelley and Chris freaking Sabin. Like, those two...
They're timeless, man. It always blows my mind when in the Machine Guns Titantron, it says Motor City Machine Guns established 2008. I know a couple years ago, I talked about Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian having such longevity in the tag team division. They got nothing on the Guns.
No.
I remember when the Motor City Machine Guns formed.
Me too.
In 2008. I remember when Mick Foley took them under their wing and said, you guys are fantastic wrestlers, but you need character. Your theme song sucks, And then they were given their theme song they still have to this day. The Guns are timeless. And it's really cool to see them here in AEW.
Yes,
Sanjay Dutt comes out of the ring with a t-shirt that says, fight like an 8-year-old brat. And I just wanted to reach through the TV and strangle this little pipsqueak snack.
What a fucking douche he was, man. Like, I wanted to take his pencil and just stab him, John Wick style, over and over. This guy was such a tool. He also comes out accompanied by the great Satnam Singh.
Okay, all joking aside, he's just there.
He is. He's like Omos.
Just there. And I feel like AEW debuted this guy thinking we were all going to be, oh my God, what's this like? Can you believe it or not? There's a version of Satnam Singh in NXT that's doing even less. He was brought in as Grayson Waller's heavy, and then they broke them up like 2 weeks after they formed.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing fuck all with him. He's
absolutely nothing.
He's in the backstage area giving advice to women's tag teams. The fuck does he have to give advice for? He's not even on TV.
He's not, but you know who is on TV?
Is just there.
You know who is on TV is Dax Harwood's warrior of a little girl, and she gets one of the biggest pops of the entire night, along with FTR. It was so. For her. Yeah, I did too. It was so sweet.
Like, she is adorable. She is an inspiration. She's little Finley Gray, and she's gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah. Oh, totally. This match right here was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this thing. Wardlow was typical Wardlow.
Yeah, what was everybody's issue with this match? I heard people saying like, "Oh, this match was just
I don't know.
This match didn't need to be on the pay-per-view," and I'm just like, I mean, I get that this card was bloated, and I'll get into that later, but this match was fine.
Look, at least be happy that Tony Khan is doing something with Jay Lethal, because I sure am. Jay Lethal is far too talented to just feed him to, I don't know, whoever the fuck the TNT champion was when he got there. Guevara.
Yeah, it's just like, I still feel like Lethal is just there. I'm glad they put him in a featured promo with Samoa Joe, which we'll get into later. It's just like, Tony Khan, if you're going to acquire Ring of Honor, I feel like you've acquired Ring of Honor just to get those extra stars on there. I want Tony Khan to restore Ring of Honor, not back to what it used to be, but just give them a platform. This is, I hate to say this, but this is like WWE purchasing ECW just so they can have the names, just so they can have the Sandman and, you know,
just so he could have a title to give to Claudio. Even though you do have a title, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's got the initials AEW on it.
And it's just, I'm so happy that Claudio Castagnioli is the Ring of Honor World Champion.
Oh, me too.
Is the embodiment of Ring of Honor. But when your Ring of Honor World title is being defended on Rampage, and I shit you not, Dark, yes, the ROH World title was defended in the main event of Dark against Ari Daivari last night.
Come on, man.
Can you believe that?
Not cool.
The Ring of Honor World title that Bryan Danielson and CM Punk and Kenny Omega and Adam Cole,
Seth Rollins,
and we can go on and on and on over all the legends that have held
Kevin Owens,
Kevin Owens,
Adam Cole, baby.
You know, we could do this all
go
night.
on and on. But
Jay Lethal, who is the longest reigning Ring of Honor World Champion in history. When that title is being relegated to your fucking main event, come on, Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Anywho,
not to digress too much, but Wardlow looked great in this. He got the hot tag. I said, I think about a year and a half ago, that one day Wardlow is going to be freaking money for this company. And I still fully believe that this guy will be a world champion with Tony Khan sooner rather than later. It just looks like he loves being in AEW. He's feeding off the crowd with a symphony, and that's a gimmick, the Powerbomb Symphony. Much like Braun Strowman's Get These Hands gimmick. Ironic, seeing as how he returned on Monday Night Raw. But
he is just improving and improving and improving with each passing Dynamite. I love his gimmick. Like I said, the Powerbombs, I'm not getting tired of them. He's doing it almost every week on Dynamite, and it's fun to watch. Sometimes you just like seeing someone get their ass kicked.
He delivers a good powerbomb, man. At least his finisher is not the F10 anymore, which he hit on Jay Lethal.
Oh, yeah.
I
feel like, the Guns in FTR, that's a tag team title match I want to see.
I'd like to see the Guns in AEW more regular. I thought that they did wonderful in this match. I don't know if they hit their finish, but there was a Shatter Machine on Alex Shelley, and I refuse to call it the other names that they're calling it. Goodnight Express, Big Rig. I understand.
Big Rig is fine.
Big Rig is fine.
At least it's not Goodnight Express.
Big Rig is fine. Shatter Machine just sounds like such a cool name, though. I can't let that one slide. You know,
and if Triple H ever could fish them out of AEW, just saying. I know everyone's gonna get for that, but just saying.
That was one of my favorite sequences of the match, where they hit the Shatter Machine on Shelley. Jay Lethal comes in out of nowhere with a double lethal injection on both members of FTR, which was awesome. It was a really great sequence. But then we get the Wardlow Powerbomb Symphony on Jay Lethal, and the crowd is doing the conducting motion that Wardlow has come up with for the gimmick.
Okay, so what I love about this and what I hate about this, I hate that Jay Lethal had to be the one to take the symphony.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I love how Wardlow hits the powerbomb, embraces the crowd, hits another powerbomb, immediately rolls him out, and then hits another powerbomb. And another thing I love about this, you don't know how many powerbombs Wardlow's going to hit. It could be 2. It could be 8.
Yep, there were 4. There were 4 on this one.
He'll stop when he's damn well. And props to anyone who bumps for Wardlow.
Stiff-ass power bombs. At least it's not a Gunther power bomb where he just tosses you on your tailbone like Sheamus got. But yeah, no, it was a fun tag team match. Wardlow, of course, gets the pin, 3.5 stars. I really, really dug this. But the aftermath is what we really want to talk about. I'd love to see the FTR and the machine guns on their own, but
yeah, who would have thought we would have gotten a 6-star match on the show? Well, up next, we got it. Everyone looking at the match card right now is thinking, what the fuck? Well, Hobbs starts with 6 stars? I'm not talking about that. Because little Finley Gray makes her way back to the ring. And Sanjay Dutt is surrounded by Wardlow and FTR. And she grabs Sanjay Dutt's pencil and she snaps it in half. And then Dax Harwood punches Dutt in the face. Finley covers Dutt. The referee counts to 3. And little Finley Gray, at only 8 years old, is undefeated in AEW. And she has pinned a former X Division champion.
Fuck it. That's a 7-star match. I mean, it was a freaking clinic. Sanjay Dutt was like bumping all over the ring for this little girl. And like she was made to look like $1 million, dude. Like it was so awesome. It was a really, really fun moment. Also, don't forget that Samoa Joe was also there for this occasion.
Oh, yes. Samoa Joe, who made his return, the Ring of Honor Television Champion. He runs amok on everyone. He decks Satnam Singh with the championship belt.
He sure does.
Brian Zane made a very funny point during the match because Satnam Singh did get involved. He said that Satnam Singh is mad at Wardlow because apparently they have the same haircut.
Yeah, they sure do. They sure do.
Yeah, it's cool to see Joe back. Apparently Joe was filming Twisted Metal, which I'm like, what the fuck?
Of course he was.
I want to check that out now if Samoa Joe is in it.
I mean, what else is he going to be doing with his time, you know? It's not like he's wrestling on AEW.
Television champion.
How about not being the AEW champion? There's a lot of guys on this roster that should be AEW champion, which we'll get. Okay.
You're going to shit on Samoa Joe not being used properly in WWE. At least he was featured weekly on WWE.
At least he got WWE championship matches.
Against Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles. And, you know, he was wrestling main event programs with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. And,
Roman Reigns.
At least he was a featured star.
He was wrestling. He was, sorry to cut you off. He was wrestling another Samoa Joe on the roster. Like, come on. Come on, guys.
You know, again, I feel like Samoa Joe was one of the most talented wrestlers on the planet. And I feel like post 2009, he has not gotten, you know, the booking he deserves. You know, he had the fucking tribal tattoo in TNA, losing clean to Orlando Jordan, doing some good stuff in NXT, but then, you know, never realizing his full potential in WWE.
No.
To getting released, to getting brought back, to getting released again, and now he's in AEW doing fuck all.
It's ridiculous, man. Like, do better. Do better with Joe. Speaking of matches that could have done a lot better, Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Team Taz imploding right before our very eyes. Powerhouse Hobbs getting the Bobby Lashley style presentation here on his way to the ring. Ricky Starks comes out and he's a white hot meat baby face here. This match, honestly, what the hell was this?
You want to talk about matches that did not need to be on the show? Case in point, this didn't need to be on the show.
It's unfortunate.
I'm glad. Okay, so when you split up a team, there's the Marty Jannetty effect. One guy is going to be the Shawn Michaels, and one person's going to get left in the dust. Yeah. AEW is trying a little too hard to make sure that doesn't happen to either of these guys because. Okay, let's break down these two wrestlers because there's not much to this match. You have Powerhouse Hobbs, who looks like $1 million, who hits like a truck, who has potential, but there's just something about his presentation that's just very off. I feel like he has very weird facial expressions. I feel like his promos are like, he's like a 2007 Bobby Lashley. You know, looks like $1 million, works all right, but can't cut a promo to save his life.
You know what he is? He's the 2007 Bobby Lashley given the 2022 Bobby Lashley presentation. Like,
exactly.
It's the best of Bobby Lashley and the worst of Bobby Lashley all rolled up into one. Like,
and then you have Ricky Starks, Ricky Starks is a fucking star in the making. He looks amazing. He has charisma. His mic skills are great. His entrance is fucking awesome. Look, I'm a 28-year-old man. I don't reenact entrances anymore. I'll admit, I do the Ricky Starks pose every time he comes out. because
Absolute.
it's right. He's over. He wrestles. This is a guy, again, if he had the right backing and he wasn't on a bloated roster, Ricky Starks could be world champion.
I think he will be world champion one day, but with so many people ahead of him in line, I don't know when he's going to get there, you know?
And it's just, again, I would rather see this main event of Dynamite than be lumped in the middle of this very bloated card.
Yeah, like Powerhouse Hobbs just hits him with a spine buster and pins him in 5 minutes.
Which looks great. I feel like this match was a toss-up. Either guy needed the rub, but both guys couldn't take the loss. It sucks.
Yeah.
They're trying so hard to push both of these guys. But obviously, the more natural approach would be to push Starks. But again, Hobbs is a monster. You don't want to bury your monster.
Right. But you have so many monsters on the roster. Like, you could...
You kind of see the writing on the wall already. They're teasing him joining the factory. And when he joins the factory, it's fucking game over for him.
Yeah.
Did
is.
You remember Anthony Ogogo was still with the company? Because I didn't.
Oh, I don't remember him at all.
To background stooge of the factory.
Ugh.
And I'm not even saying that about QT Marshall, because I've actually lightened up on him a lot. But they don't do anything with the factory.
Yeah. Yeah, the factory.
Nick Comoroto, Aaron Solo, Anthony Ogogo. They want to add Powerhouse Hobbs to that group.
They're still
once they do that, it's game over.
Yeah, they're still the Dungeon of Doom for millennials, Tomas. I have not let up on that. Powerhouse Hobbs joins them, and no, absolutely not. But
it's game over for Hobbs.
Yeah, but yeah, this match very disappointing. Despite the build, again,
the build was fantastic. I feel like Starks
and
Hobbs. Starks was cutting good promos. Hobbs was doing fun squash matches. I'll give it 2 stars. Again, this match needs more time. I feel like I wish this match would have got the Matt Riddle, Seth Rollins treatment. Scrap the match on this pay-per-view. Let it build for another month. Give these guys 15 minutes.
I thought this was 1.5 stars, dude. This was my weakest match on the show.
And I get it. This was, okay, I'm going to bump my down a little. 1.75 stars. This was just there. And I was actually looking forward to this match.
It's unfortunate, dude. It really is. But
then, man, you want to talk about matches that you did not think were going to be bangers?
Tag team titles, baby. Swerve in Our Glory defending against the Acclaimed, who come out with the most babyface rap imaginable. Daddy Ass, of course, accompanies them to the ring, otherwise known as the One Billy Gunn, if you're a smart ass like Tomas. And basically,
One Billy Gunn.
Yeah, no, he is the One Billy Gunn. But Swerve in Our Glory does not acknowledge this rap at all. They turn their backs to Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, which I thought was a great touch. This was great. This was a great tag team title match.
This is literally the opposite of the last match. This match had such a weak and weird build because the Acclaimed have been feuding with the Gun Club, and the Gun Club looked like they were the ones that were getting pushed. And then all of a sudden, they're backstage, and Lee and Strickland go, "Hey, you want a title match at the pay-per-view?" And it's just like, where the fuck did that come from? And
there's no... As opposed to Starks versus Hobbs, which got excellent build, this match had no build aside from the Acclaimed being ranked high in AEW's power rankings. Number 2, I believe. Not even the number 1 contenders, which is interesting.
And then here I am thinking, well, the Gun Club surely is going to get added to this match because, it just didn't make sense. But then the match started going, and then the story already started getting told. Like I mentioned, this had Payback 2013 vibes with Alberto and Ziggler doing the double turn, because they kind of did a double turn in this match.
Kind of.
The match was starting to go. Strickland and Lee are working heel because Anthony Bowens hurts his knee in the middle of this match.
Yeah.
And Strickland and Lee get vicious.
First of all, I was very concerned that Bowens actually tore his knee up again, which is unfortunate because the guy, he's very talented, but he's proven to be very injury prone throughout his AEW run so far. Second, how weird was it to see Keith Lee working heel? Like, what the hell?
He said himself in the media scrum that he has never been booed like that before.
I probably wouldn't have been booing Keith Lee if I were live in that audience, despite everybody being behind the Acclaimed. I was behind the Acclaimed, but...
Here's the difference. Lee and Strickland were getting the kind of heat you want. They were getting that heel heat, that, it was very genuine. It was very, it was, it was organic. It was very organic heel key. And I feel like maybe Strickland and Lee were taken aback by that a little. But as the match went on, they started embracing it. They started getting used to it. Strickland's a natural heel. That's easy for him. But I don't think Keith Lee's ever worked heel before. So this is probably new to him.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely new for sure.
We got a little inkling of it in WWE when he was Bearcat.
I knew Swerve could be a heel. I knew Swerve could be a heel, but Keith Lee, man, it's uncharted waters for him. So
yeah, but the heat was real in this match.
The crowd, you know how they sing "Oh, bask in his glory" at Keith Lee? This time they were singing "Oh, scissor me, daddy ass."
Loved it.
Oh, scissor.
I'm just gonna say this right now. You wrestling fans, you go out to your job, you go out to your family, you walk up to somebody and say "Scissor me, daddy ass." You are gonna get the weirdest look in the world, and you better be prepared for the consequences.
If you wear one of the Acclaimed shirts in public right now, you're gonna get so many weird looks. I guarantee that. It's literally just like the scissor thing, and then it says "Scissor me, daddy ass" on it in big balloon letters. Like, What the hell, man? What is wrestling? What is wrestling now?
What is wrestling? But as this match keeps going, the better and better it gets. And unfortunately, as amazing as this match was, this suffered from the same AEW booking. The writing is on the wall. We talked about this at Clash of the Castle. When you have something that is tailor-made for someone to win, why aren't you pulling the trigger on these baby faces? We wanted the Acclaim to win. They were right there. They even got such a near fall that, the fans were pissed that it wasn't 3.
Max Caster was given a John Cena WrestleMania 20 style spot where he hits an attitude adjustment on Keith Lee. I never thought I would say that sentence ever.
Can you believe he got the seal of approval from John Cena on Twitter?
Mm-hmm. No, I can believe it. And Keith Lee is, those of you who've been watching wrestling for a long time, you know that Keith Lee is not a small man. So this was not an easy feat for Max Caster, and it legit did look like John Cena picking up one of those giants for an FU back in the day. So I could have sworn that was going to be the end, but there is a the crowd is chanting bullshit for some of these near falls. Swerve was a little bit late breaking up one of the cues there. But they hit the Swerve Stomp combined with the Spirit Bomb for the pinfall, and Swerve and Keith Lee retain the titles.
4.5-star match. This was excellent, but the Acclaim should have won. The Acclaim should have won.
This would have been 5 if the Acclaim won. So
this is my issue with AEW. Why not give the Acclaim the rub? I mean, Lee and Strickland is such a such a thrown together team. Thank you. Why not put the titles on the Acclaim? People were saying, "Oh, it's not the time. They need to run with Lee and Strickland." Why? Please give me one reason why you need to run with Lee and Strickland.
Literally no reason.
I feel like the full heel turn wasn't full because they got Billy Gunn gets in the ring and he wants to scissor Swerve Strickland. That is such a weird statement to say. And they do it. The crowd is not. The crowd is very unhappy with the scissoring of the one Billy Gunn to Swerve Strickland.
Again, I must reiterate, what is wrestling when you have the one Billy Gunn wants to scissor Swerve Strickland?
So let's talk about this now while it's fresh. There is going to be a rematch at Arthur Ashe Stadium. I think it's too late. I feel like they should have did it here. And we all know where this is going. Tony Khan. They even asked Tony Khan during the scrum, did you consider calling an audible? And I just feel like the passion and the reaction the Acclaim were getting was so genuine. We know it's kind of like John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011 versus John Cena and CM Punk at SummerSlam 2011. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to recreate that organic feel. And it's going to be great because we know the Acclaim are going to win the titles in 2 weeks. But again, they should have just did it here.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, it's going to be a sweet moment regardless, but it would have been much, much sweeter here. But on pay-per-view, not on free TV, mind you. Grand Slam is a TV show. This is a pay-per-view.
Sometimes it feels like AEW cares more about their TV than they do their pay-per-views. Which, when you look at it that way, it's like, why am I going to spend $50 on this show when the bigger moments and the bigger matches are going to happen on free TV?
Right. But, okay, speaking of titles.
The AEW Women's Championship is on the line. Let me repeat. The AEW Women's Championship is on the line. Toni Storm, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, Jamie Hayter, and Hikaru Shida are fighting for the AEW Women's Championship.
You notice how he doesn't say the word interim anywhere.
I hate that word.
Yeah.
I hate that word.
Well, Tony Khan doesn't seem to have a problem vacating championships anymore.
Thunder Rosa is unable to defend her championship right now due to injury. So instead of doing the regular thing, and I get what people were saying, like, oh, our brains are so wired in wrestling for them to just vacate championships that we're not used to this. But I will straight up admit, I do not like the interim champion idea.
No.
It's like, I swear, it's like getting a participation trophy. It's like, they might as well tell the interim champion, you're just keeping this title warm until the real champion gets back. And in that case, then why strip the champion to begin with?
Yeah. This crowd really wanted Jamie Hayter to win, by the way, and I feel like this was a big coming out party for her in so many ways. She had a really good showing in this match, as did everybody else. Hikaru Shida looks the best she has in months. Let's point this out now. Storm made her way to the ring, and her face gave it away that she was winning. She started tearing up. Well, how do I put this? This match was very predictable, mainly because everybody knew that Toni Storm was going to beat Thunder Rosa anyway.
So if they're going to do that, then they should have just crowned her the women's champion. I'm okay not seeing Storm pin Rosa. It's okay. Here's the thing, Tony Khan. Injuries happen, as you know. Injuries happen. And I feel like this is Tony Khan trying to have his cake and eat it too. There's nothing wrong with vacating a title. If that just means you just got to have a plan B. And this should have been their plan B, but it's him executing his plan B with trying to having his plan A at the same time. And it doesn't work. I don't like it. No more interim champions. If I ever hear the word interim again, between the interim general manager, John Laurinaitis, between the interim...
We don't talk about people power.
The interim general manager, Baron Corbin, the interim world champion, John Moxley, the interim women's champion. I'm not using that word. Toni Storm is the AEW women's champion.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Yeah, I mean, there was good wrestling in this. Britt Baker hits the curb stomp on Hikaru Shida. She puts on the dreaded glove, which you could probably buy on AEW Shop within the next couple of months for about $50. She goes for there's a combination submission here with a lockjaw and a Boston Crab. How does Shida not tap out to that? How does she not? Like
she doesn't want to recreate the Night of Champions 2009 finish with.
She's got two interim champions.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that would.
You imagine? Nightmare. Thunder Rosa fighting Baker and Hayter in a handicap match.
You know, to kind of like ease up on Tony Khan a bit, I feel like what happens with a lot of these shows is obviously they have a booked winner, but then all of a sudden in these matches, people you don't expect to get over just get over.
Jamie Hayter.
And all of a sudden, Jamie Hayter, someone that nobody really cared about a few weeks ago, is the most over person in this match.
Yeah, and Jamie Hayter?
It's like, hell yeah, Jamie Hayter.
Yeah, that's right. It's an inside joke.
Yeah. But you know, Hayter all of a sudden gets over in this match, and Tony Khan can't just go, oh, well, we're going to call an audible every single time someone gets over. Use this as motivation to continue pushing this person if they continue to have this reaction. And, you know, everyone's been saying the Jamie Hayter-Britt Baker alliance needs to end, and I feel like this is just the beginning of it. This is a good chance to get Baker away from the Women's Championship, and I don't know, AEW, have a secondary women's feud on your show?
Give Britt Baker something to do. Give Britt Baker something to do for a while, but yeah, Toni Storm basically, she hits, who does she hit with the Storm Zero? Did she hit Hayter? Oh, she certainly No. She didn't hit a Storm Zero. She hit a DDT on. No, she pinned Britt Baker. No,
She did.
She sure did. She pinned Britt Baker. Yeah, I stand corrected. So Toni Storm, as predicted, is now the AEW Women's Champion. I said it that way to make Tomas happy. It's 3.25 stars. It was good wrestling, but it's a predictable outcome.
Last word on the interim shit is just like, you get crowned the interim champion, and it just feels like a very hollow victory. You know, now you have to work with the anxiety of, are they gonna actually keep this title on me, or am I just keeping the title warm?
Yeah.
For Thunder Rosa.
She's keeping the title warm.
Yeah. Anyone who's saying Thunder Rosa requested her release from AEW, you're full of shit, and that is not real. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, people.
I mean, Malachi Black did, but anyhow. So next up, we have Jungle Boy Jack Perry one-on-one with Christian Cage. This is the feud I was really, really into in AEW. This has been so well built up, basically since shortly after Christian Cage arrived on the scene in AEW, about a year and a half ago up to this point. Crazy thinking about it that way. But
this is the best long-term booking in AEW currently.
Easily. Christian Cage, just a douchebag, man. I freaking, like, this heel turn is exactly what he needed. Like, I'm a big fan of his.
I feel like this is how you really use a legend in professional wrestling. He's not in the ring that much often. He's elevating other talent. Mm-hmm. He's not a senior citizen in clown paint, making everybody tap out. He's winning when he needs to, and he's losing when he needs to. And the heat that Christian Cage is probably the best heat he's had since 2006 TNA.
Yep.
Or, I don't know, I don't want to go that far. His heat in 2011 was pretty good.
Yeah. He's got a great t-shirt. Got a great t-shirt that says "Worked everyone" on it, because his gimmick before was outwork everyone. Now he worked us all.
And I love that, because he sure as hell wasn't outworking everybody.
No, he sure as hell did not outwork everyone on this show, that's for sure. And we'll just let that joke die for a minute.
Unfortunately, Christian Cage is injured for real. So this match had to be modified a little, but I thought it was modified in the best way, because Jungle Boy Jack Perry makes his way to the ring. He is signaling. Oh no, before we get to that, Jungle Boy's sister and his mom were in the audience, and Christian Cage is just being such a lewd motherfucker to them.
Jungle Boy's mom slaps him in the face too, which is just a great touch.
Well deserved.
Oh yeah. Oh no, Christian deserves a chance.
Yeah, I love that Jack Perry's sister is flipping him off every chance she gets.
Oh, totally. Christian deserves every bit of it. But Jungle Boy is making his entrance. Who pops out but Kane Luchasaurus? He comes out. We thought he had reunited with Jungle Boy, but he hits a gigantic chokeslam, which leaves a gigantic-ass scar on Jungle Boy's back. Oh my god, that looks gnarly.
According to the commentators, Jungle Boy got chokeslammed on the grate where they do the pyro. So apparently it was still hot, and he had grill marks on his back.
He sure did.
Jack Perry looking like a full-on Whopper from Burger King after that chokeslam. I thought that would just be the end of it, but Luchasaurus throws Jungle Boy back into the ring, and the match starts, and this felt very much like New Year's Revolution 2006, because Christian Cage immediately hits a spear, and Jack Perry kicks out.
He sure does.
Immediately after, Christian Cage hits the kill switch, and Christian Cage wins the match in 20 seconds. I think this was a great extension to their feud. Unfortunately, Christian Cage needs to have surgery, and he'll be out for a while, but this is a great opportunity to just start a feud between Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Just do that at Full Gear. And then save Christian for Double or Nothing or something like that. This was
healthy. He's
when he's healthy. Absolutely. Yeah. So let me put it this way. This was not a match. This was an angle. I realize everybody is saying, oh my god, we paid $50, and most people probably paid $50 because they wanted to watch this match the most. And I understand if they got bait and switched, and they felt that way. But
well, you know what? Like we said earlier, injuries in wrestling happen.
Mm-hmm. In the grand scheme of things, it's a great story. Freaking love where they're going with this.
remember when the main event to TNA's biggest show, Bound for Glory in 2006, had to get canceled 3 days prior because Kevin Nash got injured. Sometimes shit in wrestling happens and you just got to go with it. You got to work with what you got.
Sure
and
does.
That ended up with Rhino winning the NWA Heavyweight Championship. So turn a negative into a positive, and I think that's what AEW did here.
In a great pay-per-view, might I add.
Yeah. This was an extension to the feud. Again, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus can pick up the feud here, and when Cage is ready to go, he'll be back, and they can resume.
Yeah, but I can't really rate this as a match. Like, it's not really fair to do that, but I'm going to give it a solid thumbs up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of thumbs up.
Next up is Lionheart Chris Jericho. Apparently, he's having a middle-age crisis because he thinks he's in 1996 again. He's taking on the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you this right now. This is not a match you put on a show that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 matches in and expect the crowd to be on fire for it.
Nope. Nope. These are, two of my personal favorites. Chris Jericho has been awesome. Bryan Danielson is one of my personal favorites. William Regal on commentary for this. This feels like a match made in heaven. Like, these two had one match in WWE that I can remember on NXT, the premier NXT, before it became, NXT 2.0 bullshit. But
also, I'm glad you mentioned that. Chris Jericho, get your head out of your ass. In a recent interview the other day, he said that match doesn't count. Jericho, get your head out of your ass. Just get it out of there. This match was locked down by two things and two things only. Number one, it being so deep into the card and the fans were gassed. Number two, I hate to say it, Jericho doesn't work like Jericho anymore. He's slowing down. He's getting older, and it's really showing.
Yeah, he comes out in the Lionheart gimmick, no Fozzy intro, which is very disheartening because I wanted to sing that. But I mean, the match was really good. It could have been a lot better though.
I feel like Jericho is approaching Undertaker status. There is literally not anything else he can do in professional wrestling. He's literally done it all. He's done so much that he's even done a musical sequence on AEW. What else is there for Jericho to do? Like, I get he still wants to do it. I get he still has the passion. I get, if somebody doesn't want to quit, they don't have to quit. But I feel like my interest in Jericho is declining and declining with each passing pay-per-view.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Bryan Danielson, still one of the best wrestlers in the world, man. I don't want to say he carried this match, but there was a lot of great technical brilliance from Danielson. Jericho was holding his own for sure. But I would say Danielson, MVP of this match for me. There were some great sequences. Jericho hits a tombstone, and I'm like, please don't Owen Hart him right now. Don't do that.
I will say this match did have like a Japan feel for it at times. Go ahead. You put a 96 Jericho versus a 2006 Bryan Danielson in the freaking, in a dojo in Tokyo. That match would have been fire.
Oh, God.
But unfortunately, this is I don't want to be harsh, but this is an older Jericho versus, a reinvigorated Danielson. Danielson's still going.
Match could have been so much better, man. But there were some good moments. Danielson does I'm going to kick his fucking head in, which got a huge pop. He goes for the yes lock a few times. He does apply the yes lock on Chris Jericho from various points. And yeah, I realize it's known as the LaBelle lock right now, but I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, I'm like, okay, yes lock, that's fun.
Hey, props to Danielson for going this far in his AEW without, ever acknowledging yes ever again, because he doesn't need it to get over. I think he's proving now that, to any Danielson haters out there saying like, oh, he just got over with the yes in WWE.
No. Absolutely, no pun intended there. But Jericho hits a code breaker. He locks Danielson in the Lion Tamer, which is cinched in there. Danielson somehow escapes this, hits the running knee, and then he also, oh man, you want to talk about great submission holds. I told you it's a submission. He locked in the cattle mutilation. And Jericho was in that hold for a while.
every single time that happens, I say cattle mutilation. She says, wait, Bryan Danielson's vegan and he has a move called cattle mutilation? That's badass.
I mean, it's kind of a double negative if you really think about it, but in any case,
pretty badass.
It is. I agree. Jericho is in this hold for a while. Aubrey Edwards does not see that Jericho hits Danielson right below the belt and hits him with a Judas effect and pins him. Jericho does not need to be beating Bryan Danielson right now. At all. Just saying.
Could say this is the extension of the feud. You know, we got the Daniel Garcia stuff going on, which...
Right. The Jericho Appreciation Society comes out to celebrate, except for Daniel Garcia, because he respects Bryan Danielson after their amazing series of matches on Dynamite. Their 2 out of 3 falls match at House of the Dragon was awesome. But, like, Danielson should have won this. I am fully in the belief of that. Like, Jericho should not be going over in this scenario at all.
This was the match where I was gassed at this point, which is honestly saying a lot, because with these AEW pay-per-views, it would have been like 5 matches in, I would have been gassed. But, you know, props to this pay-per-view for keeping my attention this long. Again, if this was in front of a more jacked, not tired crowd, this would have been great. And again, Jericho is just not the same Jericho he used to be. I'll give it 3.5 because it was still good.
I'm going to go 4. I really appreciated the technical aspect of this match. Definitely could have been so much better. If it were earlier on the show and the crowd reaction was through the roof, out the wazoo, would have been spectacular.
Yeah.
But as it is...
the longest match, clocking in at almost 24 minutes.
Yeah. Think about that, too. 24 minutes, longest match on the show. Not even the match of the night in both of our books. It should have been. It really should have been, guys.
Speaking of guys that do not need to be going over in 2022, what do we have next?
Sting, Darby Allin, and the Redeemer going up against the House of Black. This is honestly a feud that was... This is a match that I saw coming for sure. Sting and Darby Allin are going to be involved with the House of Black at this show. Either way.
I don't mean to sound like such a sourpuss, but I'm kind of tired of the Darby Allin Sting shit. Like, I'm over it.
You don't like Uncle Sting driving his nephew to school?
Like shit. Let me put this into perspective for everybody. Sting arrived in 2020, the end of 2020. It has been 2 years, and he has not been pinned. He has not been made to submit.
Well, of course
he
not.
He is making people tap out left and right.
Of course not. Yeah, it's Sting. Yeah,
Sting,
you know, he doesn't need
the WCW champion in 1997.
And if this were WWE, Tony Khan would have put the AEW title on Sting. If this were WWE a year ago, Sting would have had the world title a long time ago, and he would be dominating. But
it's just,
as it
I'm
is,
not trying to hate on Sting. I love Sting. I've been watching Sting for years. I loved him in WCW. I loved him in TNA. Hell, I even loved the short stint he did with WWE. And I didn't. Out when he nostalgia.
He should have beat Triple H. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you know, I popped when Sting came in AEW.
Oh, me too.
I didn't think it was gonna be this. Like, goddamn, Sting, put somebody over. Like, fuck.
Yeah, but it's honestly, this is such an odd couple team with Miro teaming with Darby and Sting here.
Because Miro's not even full-blown babyface. He's kind of a tweener. He's only here because Malachi Black fucked with him at the Forbidden Door. And this is just a weirdly booked match. Let's get into this now because I feel like it's the elephant in the room. Malachi Black has been reported to being unhappy with his booking. Unfortunately, he's going through some personal issues with his life, and he feels like he needs to step away from professional wrestling. So he requested his release. Apparently, it got denied. But as of this night, he is officially gone from AEW.
Yep.
So this was the last match. Last time you're going to see Malachi Black in the ring for hopefully not a very long time. But whatever Malachi is going through, you know, the whole wrestling world has your back. And, you know, whatever it is, you know, we want to see you back soon.
Totally. I'm right there with you. What Tomas said. But I mean, everybody got their shit in. I mean, Brody King was definitely, in my eyes, the MVP of this thing. He looked like a freaking monster. him and Darby Allin he's tossing this poor bloke all over the ring with no regard to his safety. In kayfabe, of course. In kayfabe. I'm sure Brody King sees that Darby Allin is a very fragile young man, and he wants to make sure that he lives to see his kids. But basically, this finish is so weird. Malachi Black is in the ring with Darby Allin.
It was weird when it happened, but now, in hindsight, it makes sense.
Sting sprays black mist in Malachi Black's face. Taste of his own medicine. And then Darby Allin goes for the Last Supper leg tie-up into a pinfall. There was only about 12 minutes of action. It's not the strongest Sting Darby Allin spectacle style match that we've gotten. I loved the match at Forbidden Door. I loved like all the other Sting stuff. Like, it's been so fun, but I don't know. This wasn't up there for me. I mean,
I feel like, if Malachi Black wasn't leaving, obviously the House of Black should have went over. I'm so fucking tired of Sting automatically winning every single match he's in. And, people were complaining that this is the second time in a couple weeks that Malachi Black took the pin. Mm-hmm. But, again, Malachi's on his way out. He probably wanted to put somebody over. And then apparently when the cameras weren't on, he took a bow. He blew a kiss to the crowd. Gonna miss you, Malachi. Yeah. And wherever you decide to end up, I will mark out for his return.
It's going to be WWE because his wife is over there. But anyway, you didn't hear it from me, folks. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to give this 3. I had fun watching it while it lasted. I can't go higher than a 3, though. Oh boy. Speaking of people I'm sick of.
Here we go. Probably the most controversial main event in AEW history, easily. It's CM Punk challenging Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. Oh boy, how did we get here? So as we know, Jon Moxley won the AEW World Championship at Forbidden Door, defeating Tanahashi. And the summer of Punk turned into the summer of Moxley. He was defending it almost every week on AEW, being shafted to the opener in some of these shows. Moxley was really the workhorse of the summer, defeating every single person that came his way. Whether it be from New Japan, whether it be from, people that we've never seen before, winning battle royals at Ric Flair's last match show, to, main eventing Dynamite against Chris Jericho in a very good match. Moxley has been carrying the company on his back. CM Punk made his return to AEW, and honestly, Moxley gave him the very reaction I wanted to. He shoved Punk to the side and said, "Get out of my face." Moxley cutting scathing promos saying, "I am not the interim champion. I am the real champion. And if CM Punk thinks he's going to waltz back in here after having a little broken foot in the past 4 months and take back his title, he's going to have to pry it from his dead, cold arms."
A shattered foot. Not just a broken foot. It was shattered.
As the news reports were going, or as Punk did on Dynamite, Punk came out and called out Hangman Adam Page, who had nothing to do with the feud.
Here we go.
Apparently telling Page that, the disrespect, the apology must better be loud as the disrespect. Apparently Punk is a little baby butthurt over a little comment that Hangman Adam Page made in May before he got injured. And Punk's now just bringing it up, telling Page he wanted to fight him right then and there. Page was sitting in catering with the Dark Order when this happened, having no idea that this happened.
And Punk knew that he wasn't going to come out either. So he basically, and I went back and rewatched this promo, just doing some research. And, it's a vague comment that Hangman makes. And petty. Punk went into business for himself, and he basically was like, "Here's your receipt, buddy. I'm going to bury your character and make you a coward." After
that, later on in the show, it is announced that the AEW unification match is not going to take place at All Out. It's going to take place the following week on Dynamite.
That fucking shocked me, dude. I was like, what the hell?
We're all sitting here saying, also, there's reports of CM Punk's very difficult to work with, surprise, surprise, and that CM Punk is threatening to leave the company. Meanwhile, the sky is blue, the sun is hot, the Music Man is a terrible musical. What the fuck is new? What the fuck is new?
CM Punk is difficult to work with.
CM Punk is a piece of shit. So we fast forward to that Dynamite. The match is finally here. Punk versus Moxley for the AEW World Title. And Moxley beats CM Punk in 3 minutes.
Not just
Punk
squashes him. And I'm like...
After Punk throws a road kick and hurts his foot again, Moxley takes advantage, hits him with 2 paradigm shifts, and picks up the victory. The rightful world champion. The wrong has been righted. Moxley is the world champion. Bye-bye, CM Punk. No, the following week on Dynamite, Punk gets his rematch, and here we are. What the fuck? What the actual fuck?
I don't even know what to say to this, man.
And this is the beginning of all the shit we're going to talk about.
So much drama. I don't like it at all.
It's bad.
CM Punk is rubbing me the wrong way. Listen, guys.
Oh my God. And people wonder why I don't like this guy.
Listen.
And people wonder why I don't like him.
It was cool seeing him a year ago. And because I'm a fair man, right? I'm willing to give everybody a chance despite their character. This dude did a hell of a job in this match. I think so. Great wrestling, you know. There was figure 4, Punk bladed, of course.
Yeah, I will admit that they told a good story.
It was a great story. I
think champion Moxley versus the hometown hero CM Punk, who had been invigorated by Ace Steel. Oh my God, you never heard of Ace Steel before? Neither have we, and apparently he's the most talked man in wrestling now. After Steel slapped Punk in the face, dropped an F-bomb on Dynamite, reinvigorated Punk. Punk's back in this, you know. On paper, if this was a different person, I get what they were trying to do, and it works. Moxley was kind of working tweener in this match because Punk had to be the big baby face. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And they told a good story for what it was. Okay, I will go out and say, this is better than other Punk matches I've seen. This was better than his match versus Darby Allin. This was better than the match with Hangman Page. You know.
Oh, I agree. It honestly, it could. I don't want to say it's Punk's best match that he's ever had. This is definitely nowhere near the dog collar match that he had with MJF. I love that thing. But this thing, I mean, do we want to just get into it right now? CM Punk.
Well, we need to talk about the finish of the match, obviously.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at.
I was so deflated watching this match because I knew what was going to happen. And it happened. 2 GTSs, and CM Punk is your new AEW World Champion. Why don't you just take a giant shit on Moxley's face while you're at it?
God, dude. Mox and his brand spanking new undisputed gear that he had. Man,
this
dude.
Is the heart and soul of AEW. This is the guy who has been there since day one. This is the guy who, like Drew McIntyre in WWE, held the AEW World Championship and the AEW flag high in the sky when they were performing in front of nobody. He was the workhorse. He worked all of those pay-per-views where there was 200 people. He worked Brody Lee and Lance Archer and Kenny Omega and all these wrestlers, you know, in front of a fucking empty arena. And you're gonna disrespect him like this.
Yeah.
You're gonna absolutely disrespect him like this. Why?
You're just gonna throw the title on a guy who is I mean, he claims to be a nice guy and he claims to be his own worst critic. I think he's a little bit overrated, if I'm being honest, after watching a bunch of his stuff. Yeah.
He's past his time. He hasn't been cool in 10 years. He calls himself the best in the world when I can name 30 wrestlers off the top of my head that are better than him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Johnny Gargano, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Montez Ford, John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho. Yeah. Yeah. All of them better than Punk. I hate to break it.
We can go on and on. We can go on all night.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you CM Punk fans out there. I know some of you might be listening to me and Tomas say all this stuff about your boy, but, like, he's not cool, guys. He's not cool anymore. Like,
he's not. He hasn't been cool for a very long time. He's whiny. He complains. He's a little bitch. He can't take criticism. He's very difficult to work with.
He can't take criticism. He can't take criticism, and then he chastises Hangman Page for not being willing to take advice. Like, who needs to grow up, man? Who needs to grow up?
To quote Hangman Page, and this quote sends chills down my spine. I'm not defending my title against you. I am defending AEW from you.
Mm-hmm.
That just sends. I just got chills just saying it, and he was right.
Yeah,
he was fucking right.
That whole summer was
is a toxic monster that infiltrated this company, and Moxley and Page and all these guys were trying to defend their company from him.
Mm-hmm. So before we get into all that nonsense after the show, should we talk about how the show ended? Because I thought it was really cool.
So Punk wins the title, and I'm just deflated, very, very deflated by the ending of the show. Oh, you tell me, Zach, who you watched both papers with me live. Did I seem more depressed from this ending or when Punk initially won the world title?
When Punk initially won the world title, easily, because you had hope. You had hope that Hangman was going to pull it out. You were watching this main event, and you were sitting there like, I don't even care. I don't even care.
No.
Then, but then the lights go out, and I'm like, I know who this is. And then we hear a voicemail, which is not fully audible because Tomas and I are kind of marking out over this. The Joker from the Casino Ladder match earlier tonight shows up, and he says, the devil himself is back. Turns around, that freaking set of Jewish hair right there, that afro there is so visible. He grabs that little, prep boy scarf that he has, and it's fucking Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He makes his way to the ring, and this Chicago crowd went nuts for this guy. Absolutely wild.
MJF, who has not been seen since June 1st after cutting his version of the pipe bomb. And here's the thing. When they were playing that voicemail was of Tony Khan telling MJF, you don't have to sign an extension.
Thank you for pointing that out.
And you get to be in the ladder match. And they cut to Ring of Honor footage of Punk, and then another quote that sends chills down my spine. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing people that he didn't exist. And MJF worked all of us. And, and here's the thing, and it sucks that Punk had to go and ruin this. This is a mirror image of Punk's pipe bomb in 2011, where MJF got the whole world talking and then returned to, give Punk a taste of his own medicine. Like, this is what you did to John Cena in 2011. Now the roles are reversed. Now it's MJF coming out to confront the veteran. But
CM Punk has become what he hates. Basically.
And MJF's return, this great presentation, this great moment, was all put down the shitter. Because AEW does these things called media scrums, which I really don't like. It's basically a press conference where they, where AEW just pats themselves on the back after every single pay-per-view. CM Punk was brought onto this media scrum, not to talk about how he just won the world title, not to talk about MJF's return, not to talk about this great All Out show we got, but to absolutely have a meltdown over Colt Cabana, who was just barely mentioned by somebody who wasn't on this show, who hasn't even been seen in AEW once because relegated to Ring of Honor.
You know what? Let me clear something up. So nobody at all mentioned Scott Colton. Nobody at all said Colt Cabana by name. Nobody asked CM Punk about Colt Cabana. This started the second CM Punk sat down at that press conference, and he went into this whole tirade. He tears into the Elite, tears into Hangman Adam Page, and Tony Khan can do nothing but sit there. And I'm like, bro, this is your top babyface who's having a meltdown here.
Here are some highlights from the media scrum where Punk was talking about. So somebody, I don't know how this started, but CM Punk just absolutely starts talking about going into Colt Cabana, saying how they haven't been friends for years. If you're going to criticize me for who, I will agree with that. Punk said, I'm a grown man. Whoever I decide to be friends or not be friends with is nobody's business. He's saying that the Elite are spreading all these rumors about him, saying that he went into business for himself, criticizing Hangman Page, saying that he's suing Colt Cabana for this and that he shares a bank account with his mother. All this nonsense. Check out the media scrum because it's a sight. It is a sight to behold. And CM Punk is just coming off as this unprofessional little crybaby bitch. Here's the thing: Tony Khan is trying to change the subject. He's trying to talk about MJF. He's trying to talk about the.
He's trying to keep it kayfabe. He's trying to.
And Punk keeps bringing it back to saying the Bucks and Omega, they call themselves EVPs where they couldn't run a target. And Punk is saying all this while munching and chowing down on a box of muffins.
He's really putting that bakery over huge with this.
Mindy's Bakery.
Yeah.
It's a place in Chicago. That's a really good place for pastries and baked goods. They're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, though.
He doesn't deserve to be quoted, but okay. So Tony, let's break this down real quick. Tony Khan really doesn't he doesn't do anything in the moment. He's really trying to keep things civil. He's trying to talk about, the return of MJF and the ramifications and the storytelling that they're going to go into. And CM Punk, all he can talk about is the reason why he brought him back is because he wants me to work with pricks all the time. And I'm like, fuck off, dude. Fuck
Tony
off.
Khan, you are the owner. You are the president. You are the CEO of this company. Grow a fucking backbone. Cut Punk's mic off. Say, take his mic away and say, no, you're done. You're done for the night. A lot of people have been saying, do you think anybody would have tried that shit if that was Vince McMahon? You think anybody would have tried that shit if it was Triple H?
No.
You think anybody would have tried that shit if that was any other legendary wrestler?
Stephanie McMahon? I don't think anybody would want to try that with Steph.
And here's Tony Khan sitting there with this little look on his face, looking like a sad puppy dog. Hey, Punk, you got some crumbs on Tony Khan's shirt. You should clean that off because you like to have your bitches clean. It's embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. Punk says his piece. He leaves. All of a sudden, we see a security guard dart out of the media scrum. Chris Jericho says his piece, and then he whispers into Tony's ear, some shit went down backstage. What happened? Well, apparently Punk said, if you have an issue with me, come up to me and find me and say it's my fucking face. Well, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega had an issue with it.
And they sure did.
And they found CM Punk. They found CM Punk. They found Ace Steel, and a fight initiated. To this day, as of this recording, we don't know who initiated the fight. Apparently, Punk started it. They're still investigating it.
So, okay. There was apparently, so what happened was the Bucks walked into the locker room. Punk just starts throwing haymakers. He definitely hits Mac Jackson. Kenny Omega, freaking saint walking, makes sure that Larry the dog is okay. He gets him out of harm's way.
Doing during all this? What the dog doing? What the dog doing?
So I guess what happened was Punk was in there with Ace Steel and Ace's wife. Ace's wife was watching the dog, apparently. Omega gets the dog out of harm's way. And then
the dog doing?
Kenny Omega gets bit, not by the dog, but by Ace Steel.
Ace Steel. Did you know who Ace Steel was prior to last week? I sure didn't.
Fuck. I thought Ace Steel was an American Idol contestant from like 2006.
Ace Steel. Nobody knew who he was. He barged into AEW. He dropped an F-bomb on TV. He bit Kenny Omega. He threw a chair at Matt Jackson's face, and he left.
Yeah. No, he's fired. He's done.
What the fuck? What the fuck is this? What even is this? So yeah, here's the thing. I'm not going to make any direct quotes because this is still under investigation and it is still not confirmed who started this fight. So we're all wondering what's going to happen to these guys. It is confirmed. Every single person who was involved in this fight has been suspended. Kenny Omega
at the very least, suspended.
Okay. Kenny Omega, the Bucks, Christopher Daniels, who I did not know was involved in this, Michael Nakazawa, and Pat Buck have all been suspended from AEW indefinitely. Punk and Steel are still being investigated, and it is still not confirmed if they're going to be fired or suspended. Steel's out of there. He's fucking out of there. You don't do your job and fucking bite somebody and not get fired.
If Steel goes, Punk is going to go with him. So
I hope he does.
Everybody, I hope you enjoyed CM Punk while you did, because you're not going to be seeing this guy anymore. You really aren't.
August 21st. Was it August 21st?
August 20th.
August 20th, 2021. I decided to give CM Punk a second chance, and I fucking regret that.
Yeah.
I regret it. And this was way before any of this happened. I have been sour about CM Punk for the past 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like this guy. I have no respect for him. Get the fuck out of our company. Get out of our industry, CM Punk, and don't ever come back.
Some things just never change, do they? CM Punk is still a piece of work, but yeah.
Being a kid is idolizing CM Punk for what he did in WWE. Being an adult is realizing that CM Punk was always a toxic man-child, and he does not deserve professional wrestling.
No,
professional wrestling does not need CM Punk.
It carried on fine without him.
Single-handedly divided a locker room, and that speaks volumes.
Single-handedly. Key word right there. But yeah, so the AEW World Title is vacated. So this whole main event was probably worth nothing in the grand scheme of things. Punk
got Benoit on Wednesday. There was no mention of him. They didn't show any footage of him. He got cut out of the opening.
Yep.
CM Punk is reportedly injured.
He's not in the signature that they produce at the start of the show.
I don't know how to feel about that. Punk's injured. I think it's a load of shit. I think Tony Khan needs to fire this man, and they just need to pretend this run never happened.
Yeah.
CM Punk, you fucking need help. CM Punk, you are a 40-year-old man who acts like a teenager. CM Punk, you are an entitled douchebag who rubs everybody the wrong way. Triple H was right about you. Vince McMahon was right about you. The Elite were right about you. Hangman Page was right about you. I know I said it before, but I will say it again. Get the fuck out of our industry.
Vince McMahon is not right about a lot of things either, so that's saying something, folks. As a whole, I thought this pay-per-view was good. It's not the strongest AEW pay-per-view by any stretch. Does not hold a candle to last year's All Out, which ended with Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson both debuting for the Fed. I mean, there was good wrestling on the show.
Good, there was bad, and there was ugly.
Oh, it sure was. Sure was, man. But I'm going to go ahead and give Brawl Out 2022 7.75, maybe?
I'm going to give it a 7.5. Again, there was a lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of ugly.
Certainly.
This didn't wear me out like other AEW pay-per-views did. So this is more on the positive side for me. Last bit about what happened on Wednesday. The trios titles were vacated. No longer the Elite. CM Punk was stripped of the AEW World Title. Very weird. Again, take away everything that happened. CM Punk has won the AEW World Title twice, and he has had to vacate it twice due to injury within a week of him holding the title. CM Punk is a cursed man.
Combined, he's held this title twice, and he has not held it for more than 2 weeks.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So the trios titles were decided right then and there. The Death Triangle defeated the Best Friends in Orange Cassidy to capture the trios title. Pac looks beautiful with 2 titles. Good choice. And the AEW World Title will be defended in a very short tournament. Thank God. I'm kind of sick of tournaments in wrestling right now.
What's wrong with a tournament?
There's been too many of them.
I mean, you got to roll the dice and play your cards sometimes if a title's vacant. So,
but it's a very short tournament. It's going to culminate in 2 weeks.
At Grand Slam.
Bryan Danielson will be taking on Jericho in the semifinals.
In a rematch.
Jon Moxley will be taking on the winner of Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara next week on Dynamite. And then Arthur Ashe Stadium, Grand Slam. We will have a new AEW World Champion. AEW really pulled it together on Dynamite. They put on a great show when they're in shambles. And
it felt like a new day one for them. Felt like a whole fresh start.
I'm done talking about the negative. I want to focus on the positive. Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Adam Page, the Death Triangle, the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Wardlow, the Acclaimed,
Jericho,
PPV, Swerve Strickland, Chris Jericho, Daniel Garcia, Yuta Wheeler. That's AEW.
Claudio.
CM Punk is not AEW.
No.
Those men are AEW.
That's
all I got to say about that.
MJF, man. He's going to be the world champion by the end of the year, I'm sure. Because Full Gear is taking place in New Jersey. My last note to Tony Khan is come to the West Coast, please. I would love that. I would love that so much. That would be so fun. But anyhow, stay tuned for more. We're both freaking drained because of this. Thank you guys for sticking with us if you stuck with us for this long. Next up, we do have another 2004 Retro Backlash 04. Let us know if you want us to talk about Grand Slam, because honestly, I'm kind of enticed to see how this world title situation plays out. Hit that subscribe button. Consider subscribing if you're new. Hit that thumbs up as well if you haven't already. Man, what a whirlwind, dude. We'll go ahead and get those out. Hopefully before the end of the month. I will be out of town going on a trip at the end of September. So stay tuned for all that and much, much more. And keep your eyes peeled for the next one, folks.